Hello, theme park fans, and welcome to episode 69 of the E-Ticket Report. My name is Chris Wakefield. I am joined by my co-host, whose mind is in the gutter, Jalen Harvey.
Hey, nice. 69, we made it. Look at us, we made it.
And Tommy Hawkins.
I'm hoping to be on it for more than 69 seconds this week.
That's too late. We already hit. This is the climax. I hope you guys know that.
We have a lot to talk about this week. We're going to get through it here. First, I want to jump into news that broke last week where it looks like Jalen, Disney is taking all the Imagineers in California and moving them to Florida, and people are not too happy about that. Some people.
Yeah, I mean, some people got good reasons for it. I understand, like, most of the reasons I can get is I just don't want to uproot my entire family and things along those lines, which I get. I understand. Another part of me is just like, you have folks who have to, like once you're done with a project, if you roll into another project that's international, you have to go live over there and you have to stay over there for a minute. So I would think that you kind of knew. It's not like you stay over there for like a month or two. It's sometimes you stay over there for a good 3, well, not sometimes, knowing Disney, it takes like 5 years for them to build anything. So you're going to be there for at least half a decade, maybe.
Well, and for a lot of people, Tommy, this is being seen as a culture clash, moving from, Southern California and the beaches and whatnot to kind of the crazy, hectic lifestyle, the unpredictable culture of Florida, Central Florida at that.
Unpredictable.
Some people don't like that.
Unpredictable. Don't they have earthquakes just like on a second's notice that just like the ground literally shakes? The ground, like, no, God is just like, oh, it's today. Like, nobody is today at this exact moment.
And mudslides and everything else.
And forest fires and smog.
Politics-wise, some Imagineers, people think, I have not heard many Imagineers speak up about this, but some people are going up to bat for Imagineers saying it's just not, it's not what they signed up for, essentially.
I mean, there's two things that I've seen, and I have seen this kind of, I want to call it snobbiness from like the West Coast, like looking down their nose at people on the East Coast, Florida, etc. And then you've got like, there's just this feeling of like, like the Imagineering team's just worried that it's the beginning of the end sort of vibe. And I don't know, it's a hard one to call, but for me personally, I'm just there for the creatives that are out there working like fixed term contracts, going from job to job and not really knowing like when the next lot of work is going to come up. And it's just kind of hard for me to feel like super sympathetic for the people that have got a steady permanent wage versus those people that literally they're on a 6-month job here, they're on a 6-month job there. I work in a profession where there's very few places where I can do my job, and I went into that profession knowing. And to be honest with you, if there was an offer for me to get paid $100,000 a year to go coach diving in America at one of the best places like Purdue or somewhere, and they were going to pay me to relocate, even if I did have a family, I would it wouldn't be the thing that I would be like, oh my God, like this is the worst. Yeah, I love living in London. I love London. You know how much fun London can be. But if it meant like going to move to somewhere that's not necessarily this kind of cosmopolitan utopia, then I'd do what I'd have to do. If it makes me better at my job and it means I can offer more to my field, my chosen career, and actually make a difference, then I would just go for it. That's just me.
I'm a 45-minute drive away from Purdue, so that might, I don't know if the U.S. could handle us both living that close to each other. Yeah.
Oh, that's just one example. There's plenty of others, but you get my drift.
So what's something positive that could come out of this, Jalen, when it comes to Imagineering moving to Florida? People are saying, this will get more attention on the Florida park. This will mean more redos and rethemes and things like that for Florida parks. Some people have even mentioned, I think it was you actually, said this might lead to more diversity in Imagineering, them moving out of their kind of enclave in Glendale.
Is he there? He might have to unmute though, Jay.
I'm on mute. Okay, am I back? Okay, there we go. I guess for me, I see it as I'm just gonna keep it 100. Disneyland, and I mean, well, SoCal specifically. I met many people in California who visited them. Some of them aren't up their own asses, but definitely SoCal people are. It's just I gotta keep it 100 with you. Everybody in SoCal's up their own asses. But when it comes to Imagineering and Disneyland, there's always this prestige when it comes to Walt. And so all of the other projects, I mean, all of the other parts besides maybe Tokyo, because they're not footing the bill, they don't really get the best stuff. And I think it's because of that bias. Like any Imagineer that I know over on that side that I talked to, they said there's just like a huge culture over there with California being better. I think over here is going to do great to have Disney World to have them because, hey, maybe we will get things built that have shade in it. Maybe we'll have new developments where if you're going to copy and paste something, you make it twice the size. Maybe you don't, just think you're hoity-toity because you're over at Walt's First Park, even though Walt was abandoning y'all to go to Florida. So, like, I feel like Imagineering probably should have moved to Walt Disney World when it first opened because they had nothing but room and expansion and nothing but, like, Disney. I mean, Florida gave them so much power with Disney World to the point that it's a municipality.
Did you see that?
Oh,
Jay,
go ahead.
I was going to say, did you see that post today? I forget the guy's name, but he obviously works in WDI, and he kind of went through this massive post, and he was sort of saying, at first it was like shocking, and like I said, the worry about what will happen in the, is it the beginning of the end? And then he said he kind of made peace with it, and he said, if Walt had actually lived and survived long enough to build this Epcot as he originally intended, there's a good chance that history would have been that Florida would have been the place where he would have taken Wed, and that would have beat the prestige would have been in Florida.
Yeah,
and in which case we'd be having a different argument. We'd be going, I would be backing them up of, oh my God, I can't believe they're making a move to a place that's 40 or 50% more expensive to live. Like if the move was from Florida to California, you kind of go, well, look, that doesn't seem fair to me. But I don't know. These people, some of these people have known for a year that this is going to happen. They're paying for their expenses, and these people are on $100,000 a year. It's not janitorial. They're not moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think if, like how you said, in the long run, and knowing Walt, like Walt started out doing cartoons, and once he did the movies, he was really in the shorts department. He was so focused on movies. He was always on to his next and biggest thing. And I really do think that he would have just seen like, oh, this is my milestone with Disneyland, but now I'm going to do something even bigger and better in Florida. Because he was always thinking about the next thing and the next exciting, playful thing to him. So I can definitely see that would be where it went. I don't know why it didn't go over there, especially given that they already knew that they wanted to do Epcot as a park and they wanted to keep adding more stuff to Disney World. I feel like and you're going to Lake Nona, which is a new, beautiful neighborhood. I know there was some guy on there that everybody was just going at. I don't know if you saw this post on this Twitter, but this one dude who basically called Nona creepy and all this kind of stuff and was just shitting on Florida. And I think that's a lot of Floridian people have problems with that because you're attacking people's homes. Like when you attack somebody's home, you're attacking them like personally because that's where they live. That's where they chose to kind of make a life for themselves. That's where they grew up. That's like a part of them. So to attack them and attack that place, you're attacking them. I just feel, at least to me, Disneyland folks, especially with the Imagineers, have been up their own ass for a while when it comes to Disneyland because of the whole Walt's prestige, and they will not stop pushing that in front of your face. Even though Florida gives them more power, it's cheaper to live. You can get a lot more done here. You can have a bigger and better facility than you had over in California because they just have all of the space and unregulation by Florida. Florida will do anything Disney wants them to do. Anything.
I think also it's just, at the end of the day, it's the place where there's the most going on. It's got the most scope for expansion. You've seen my threads about how much room they've got. Each park has got 30, 40, 50 acres worth of room to build new stuff. So, and I think Scott Walker or someone pointed out the other day, like, long term, you've got to think, look, in 5 years' time, when Epic Universe is built out and they're moving into phase 2, maybe even eyeing up a 4th park, Disney, it will probably be super slow for them to react. Like, Epic will be open, then 2 years later, they'll finally announce that they're going to do something about it. But there's just so much scope for them to have work and to make a huge impact on what's going on in Florida, and which obviously has a knock-on effect to all the places around the world because Chapek loves to clone every single ride ad infinitum.
That's
right.
True.
Yeah, it's again, a lot's uncertain. It's in the process, but
plus Universal's right down the street.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see what kind of changes come out of this. I want to move on to the next topic because we finally have confirmation of Halloween Horror Nights, and this has become, I lived in Florida for 6 years and went to HHN every year. I never knew the kind of culture there was behind Halloween Horror Nights and the whole fan community and people who just go to Halloween Horror Nights and not really Universal. It's its own little subculture. And this year seems to be, what we can tell so far, a really big year. They haven't announced many houses yet, but they're getting there.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say, because I've really got very little to input in terms of speculation, but when you see these posts where people are like, okay, right, we've got 7 weeks left and they've got to announce blah, 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 and they're like, list off this massive list. It seems to me as if like they seem to be holding back and they're not going to do the usual kind of drip, drip, drip of info. Like it feels to me a little bit like they're just going to drop a whole bunch of stuff and just people are going to be like, oh my God.
It's I feel like for something along the lines of HHN, and given the year that we had last year with it not having anything really, which sucked, that this is the year. And it was also, I believe, it was the 25th anniversary of the park and also the 25th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights too. I mean, it did start off as Fright Nights, but they do count that as the original first one. But I feel like it's going to be a huge event. I'm looking forward to it. I know, Tommy, you don't really do, you don't do haunted houses or anything along those lines. But for me, I'm excited. It happened the bulk of it's during my birth month. It brings out all of these people. It's an actual Halloween event that gives you something new to do besides, and for half the price of a normal ticket most of the time, or at least 25% off of a normal ticket. It's a great event. I highly recommend it. I can't wait for it.
It still remains a really good value. And before you guys write in, we're going to work on fixing Jalen's background noise. We're going to work on getting Tommy a little bit louder in the mix. I don't save it. I got it. Thank you. It's a really good value. And you juxtapose that with Boo Bash, which we talked about in the last show. It seems like this might be the first year that officially Universal overtakes Disney in that kind of Halloween event space because Boo Bash will be so truncated. And yes, we know it's very different audiences. 4-year-olds they should not be going to Halloween Horror Nights, even though I have seen them there. We know it's different audiences, but there seems to be a big shift this year between the two.
What you mean? One providers putting a full-on event, and the other half are just going, let's try and do as minimum as possible and see how much
Exactly.
money we can get from.
In Orlando, if you've never been to Halloween Horror Nights, Orlando, it really seems to cater to the Orlando locals. And Universal tries really hard each year to get those locals coming back. It's almost like it belongs. There is one in Hollywood, but it's almost like it belongs in SoCal, the way they refresh it every single year.
Yeah, with that one over there, it seems a little bit better. But even though I have friends who live over in SoCal, one in particular, Matthew Serrano, who did the Halix documentary, he was saying how he liked Boo Bash, but he didn't really rock with Mickey's Not So Scary, even though I think that's the better event out there because they have to appeal to locals because they depend on locals and locals aren't going to show up if it's new. I also think with Universal, as opposed to Boo Bash, I don't think Disney really cares about Boo Bash as a historical construct or anything that's like huge to the park's culture. I just think it's just an event for them, like a thing. Like it's just a thing that happens every year or that's expected of them. As opposed to Universal, they take so much pride in Horror Nights. They take so much pride in the culture that they built around it. I can't really say the same thing for Boo Bash.
Well, they just seem to dust off the Halloween book off the shelf and be like, okay, right, parade, sisters, fireworks. Okay, let's count the money. Whereas you've got people that are literally that's their job. They spend the whole entire year thinking about HHN and thinking, right, what can we do to make it better year after year after year? And that is that's the lane that they're in. And that to me, I don't want to ever come across like I'm dunking on Horror Nights because it's not something for me. But I appreciate what they do, even not being a fan of it myself. Just what they do is incredible.
Yeah. I love going to Halloween Horror Nights with first timers. If you are a first timer, I will almost always pay for your ticket just to live that event through your eyes as a first timer because it's so much fun.
It's as a first timer, it's hell. I think everybody remembers their first Halloween Horror Nights. My first one was I was 16, and I went for my birthday, and they were just because they were doing a Resident Evil 2 house from the actual video game, so I had to show up, and I fell in love with it after being a kid watching nothing but these commercials. Like there's one in particular that will never leave my mind. Just this guy, he just got done being a Halloween Horror Nights, so he goes to the Hard Rock, he gets on the elevator, he opens up a Coca-Cola, because of course this is a Coca-Cola commercial, it's a Horror Nights commercial. Damn near all of them are Coca-Cola commercials. And he's walking back to his room, and a monster jumps out and gets him, and that stayed with me all the way up until the moment when I walked in. And if I told 6-year-old Jalen that you're going to love going to this event, he would be like, you are out your damn mind.
Yeah, it's definitely something to experience. All right, I want to move on here. So speaking of Boo Bash, we now have the Christmas event, which
Lord.
again we touched on last episode, but now we have official dates. We have some of the programming that's coming out with it. I mean, if Boo Bash is not a good deal to me, and I've always felt this way, I've never been to a very merry Christmas party because it just seems like a really, really bad deal.
What is it apart from the Christmas fireworks and the looking at the castle with the lights on? What else are you getting?
Tommy, you're coming in even softer than usual. If you're asking what we get besides the fireworks, I think that's it. Because this year, we're pretty sure they're not going to do the Castle Dream lights. It'll just be a projection. So those, along with the giant crane that sits there for 5 months out of the year, are now gone also.
Well, the only thing I would say, and this is, again, huge caveat, I would not pay the money that they're charging for this. But it does seem that it could be interesting for the fireworks that with these new launch sites that they're building, that you could get something more interesting. But I think that's about it. And that to me is not worth the money. Not even.
And again, you can sit at the TTC, you can go to the Poly, you can go to the Grand Flow and watch the fireworks from further away, yes, but you can still watch the fireworks for free without paying to get into the event.
Is that a Wakefield's top tip?
That is an old school top tip. For Boo to You fireworks and any specialty fireworks, just go to the beach at Poly, which I think is now blocked by the bungalows, but there are all spots around you can go watch.
Yeah.
Hell, go to the Top of the World Lounge or the California Grill and get dessert, for $30-$40 and watch the fireworks from there too.
If it means that much, dude, that's better than spending damn near $200 on going to. And I think they even pipe in the music, right?
Yeah, they piped in the music for you. Yep.
Oh, well then, yeah. Don't go to the event, dog. Don't go to the event. Go to that. Or, well, I don't want to tell. I don't know. If you really do want to go to an event, there is a way to get in. Tweet me, hit me up on my DMs, and I'll tell you. But I'm not gonna be on the record. But
it involves a stepladder.
Oh God, no! Not that guy. Not that guy. It's such a stupid and easy trick that people have done at college campus bars for generations. I'm surprised that nobody really has thought about this at all. But it's like, for me, especially with the holiday stuff, what's the biggest slap in the face is that if you go during the week of Christmas, you can get all of that anyway. Like, say you don't even want to, it's going to be crowded, but if that's all you want to do, just go in during those times and split. If you're a local, then by all means, go. Because the week of Christmas, they are going to be doing that without the event. Because It's the week of Christmas.
And for this, the tickets go on sale next month, but for this, they're promising things like holiday treats, ice cream, popcorn, and bottled beverages that are included with your price. But of course, all the specialty stuff, the food, the photo pass stuff is all extra, obviously. So it's the last time I went to an after hours event was a Halloween party at Disney. Not so scary, and I think I paid $60 with my AP discount for 2 people. And I felt like this is just enough for me to justify this price. Yeah. Nowadays, the prices I could never justify, unfortunately.
No, I mean, I don't know how are they going to load the crowds? Is it going to be similar to Halloween, or is it less, or is it more? I imagine that those events are rammed.
Yeah, and by this time in late 2021, we are expecting the resort to be at 100% capacity. So all the hotels that will be open, the parks will be open to 100% capacity. So they're going to pack in as many people. They'll be in the full swing of the 50th anniversary celebration. So I don't think they're going to hold back on this whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to snag in all the people who want to go to this thing, because when you have people who are just diehards who will pay for anything like this, and you also have people who are starved. And I think this Christmas is going to be huge, because I think this is the Christmas where everybody can get together. Hopefully, I want to say that hopefully, even though we're kind of acting like everything is fine, but just like Kang the Conqueror, there's some variants out here, son. There's some guys out. Oh, lucky spoiler. But there's some stuff.
Oh, man.
There's some.
No, I can see the emails now.
You had one job, Jalen, one job.
Direct them straight to me. Direct them just straight to me. But yeah, no, it's that to me, I think they're going to have a huge return in minimal investment, they do every year. Although I will say, if you don't go for the snacks are garbage. They're not I remember when I went, I'm like, oh, this is going to be some good Disney hot chocolate and good desserts, because the one thing Disney gets right is desserts. Nah, son. These are some knockoff school lunch ass cookies that you used to get from the Boys and Girls Club after school. Watery hot chocolate. It's garbo. It's so at least. Garbo. At least with the Halloween one, you have Mars, who sends out candy with some actual brand names on this. They have Foreos. They don't have Oreos. They have Foreos. They got Miss Ahoys. It's not what you think they are. It's not going to be fun. It's not fun at all. Ugh.
Our next topic, I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's not someone rode Spaceship Earth and they died afterwards. It had nothing to do with the ride itself. It was totally a fluke. It's not germane to the ride or the mechanics or whatever. I do want to mention that website, and you know which website that is, thought it'd be a good idea to reach out to that person's family to get a comment. And they did this under the guise of journalism. And I'll tell you right now, someone who is actually a journalist, a trained journalist, someone who writes articles, someone who gets paid to do journalism every day, that is a dick move. That is something you do not do, especially for a theme park fan website. Reach out to someone's family who died to get a comment for your stupid blog. You're not a journalist, and that's not journalism. And once or twice a year, this happens. Corliss shows his ass, and it just infuriates me to no end because that then lumps in all the good journalists, all the good people who report on themed entertainment and theme parks, people like Ashley Carter and all those people. That gets them lumped in with them, and this is not how you do this. And you can scream and cry you're a journalist all day long. You're not. You're a blog writer who's. Ooh, let me stop. Ooh, hang on. Sorry.
Wakefield's about to drop the weight, son.
Count to 10.
Listen,
Count to 10.
My mama and daddy aren't paying for my lifestyle, so I don't want to. We'll just move on. Sorry. Anyways.
I mean,
sorry. Let me check my
you
trust
can't
fund account real quick. Hang on a second.
for me, the 2 cents worth I'd probably add to that is these stories. It's a place where 20 million people go to every year. It's sad and unfortunate that some people pass away when they're at such a place like that. But that to me is not in the public interest.
It's a city. It's a place the size of a city. People die. It's not about the ride.
Yeah. It's not, and I wouldn't even, let's, off the top of my head, an example where it could possibly be more in the public interest, but still absolutely no way, no one would ever do that, is when with the poor child and the alligator, and that was just horrendous.
Yeah.
And and no reporters were like, "Oh, let's contact the family and get a statement," like when their hearts were absolutely fucking broken in two. Like no real reporter would do that, and that was a subject that was in the public interest, and no one would do that. Like no one would cross that line.
Same thing with Mission Space. Like I remember because I grew up when Mission Space. I was growing up when Mission Space first came out, and I just remember, hearing on Channel 10 here in Tampa, Mission Space has like a couple bodies on it, and I don't remember them ever reaching out to the family for comment. I even went back and tried to find the original articles, and from what I saw, I couldn't really see them try to reach out to the family. Even as somebody who has taken journalism classes and goes to school for mass media, that's not something that, unless you're doing like an actual obituary, or you have somebody who sends you an obituary or something along those lines, you don't really need to go contact the person. Like, I think Tom, as much as like I like to stay neutral on this and everything, I don't think he was right to do that. I get, just report on the death and just do a blanket. Just if you want to do that, then just do it a blanket. Hey, somebody died on Spaceship Earth, had nothing to do with yada yada.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I think what adds fuel to the fire is it's not a case of like, and I can't imagine Chris ever doing something like that. But let's say Chris momentarily lost his mind and decided that he would go and try and get a comment from the family, and then people called him out on that. He would turn around and say, "You know what? I was wrong." Puts his hand up and said, "It was a real dick move. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm sorry, everyone." But instead, the person in question doubles down, and then he starts playing the victim. And, and I see it sometimes in very, very, very tiny letters. Sometimes he is like the pantomime villain that people love to hate and love to boo and hiss at. And sometimes it is uncalled for. But a situation like that, there was absolutely like, he was in the wrong.
Yeah, you give people a reason.
He was in the wrong. Yeah. Oh, I'm the victim here. No, you're not. You're a fucking dick.
You know,
admit it. You're a dick.
I reported a couple of years ago for one of my websites. I wrote this long, extensive story, and Jalen, your laptop fan is driving me crazy right now.
Wait, really? I thought. Let me turn it off. Sorry.
No, it's blaring. So I reported on a ride at a mall, at an amusement park inside of a mall, where I think it was a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old got brain damage, got hurt, and really, really bad stuff. And I actually had the phone in my hand as I'm writing a story, going, "Do I call the family or not?" I'm thinking about it because it was kind of germane to the operations of the organization, and there was a lawsuit and yada yada. And I just couldn't bring I had too much human decency to make that phone call. And what happened here is there was a lack of human decency inside this person. Something is missing inside their head. They just did not see a problem with it. And that astonishes me.
Yeah. No, it's one thing if the family comes to you. You know, I had, God rest his soul, one of my cousins, he passed away on the football field of dehydration. And, you know, the family went to the news to shed some light on, because this was a huge thing in Tampa, where kids weren't, when they were on the field playing sports, they weren't getting the hydration that they needed because coaches wanted them to focus on practice and were pushing them a little too hard. That I understand. You know, the family came directly to the news source to share some light on that. It's rough. Like I as somebody who knows Tom, who's talked to Tom, who's hung out with Tom and everything like that, I feel like in a lot of instances, or some instances, people just dogpile on him and they just make up shit about him. But on this, no, he was in the wrong. I can't deny that. The man was in the wrong. He shouldn't have did that. And I think on top of that, I'm glad that he left Twitter. Like, I think that was another big thing that he should have done a long time ago, whether for both him and the public. Like, it's something along the lines of, you already know people don't like you for this, that, and the third. And you enjoy having to fight. When I wouldn't say enjoy, but you don't have I wouldn't say the stones or the decency, but you don't have enough humility in yourself not to go back and keep fighting with them. At some point, you gotta say, well, people are gonna think what they think, and I'm gonna fuck off. Or, hey, maybe I am bad. You got this many people yelling at you. Not all of them can be liars, you know? So I'm glad he's off of Twitter. Like, I'll say that and I even told him, I'm glad that you're off of Twitter. You should have been off of Twitter. You should be off of every social media ever. You should pull a Ricky Briganti and peace the fuck out. Like, you should not be here at all.
I mean, I'm sure the clickbait website that, attracts casual fans is doing great. Anyways, all right. Speaking of bloggers, Trader Sam's reopened today at Walt Disney World, and as I checked Twitter, there is a 5-hour wait, and it is mostly bloggers with neck beards and Hawaiian shirts who are lined up outside of Trader Sam's. And I've been to the original and the best Trader Sam's in California, and I don't think that's worth the 5-hour wait. Is this worth 5 hours?
Well, first off, let me throw the time.
And I'm sorry to any casual fans who are there today, just like, hey, it's open, I'm going to pop in. And no, you've got to wait behind 5 hours of neckbeards to get in. Because they all get the same photo of the same drinks and the same food, post the same uploads.
Jesus, dog. Like, I mean, if we're being real, there's tons of movie critics who go see the movie and they write the same damn thing over and over again. You go to see their perspective. Yeah. I also gotta say, like, I'm on two sides of this. I think bloggers are annoying. I definitely do. But if you say that something new is opening and you're mad that bloggers are there, that's like me walking by a lake at night and being mad that mosquitoes are biting me. Like, you know the score. Like, you know what this is. Stop acting brand new. Like, you know.
But the casual fans don't know. Again, Twitter's not real life. The casual fans don't know that. They don't know that.
Man, whenever anything new drops, especially now in in our world that we live in this hyper broadcast world where we have these cameras that can broadcast everything to everybody. We know that people are going to be filming and doing whatever, and that
you still have people showing up to Magic Kingdom looking to ride Mr. Toad, and I am not exaggerating.
Jesus Christ. Well, how old are they? That's the first question.
That's what I'm saying. There's a large segment of people who have not been to Disney World in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you know? So,
but that's
okay,
that's what kind of pisses me off about them, is that there's people that, you know, and it's not even like me, like, or us Brits, we go for 2 weeks, and we've got like 2 weeks we can check out stuff like that. But you've got people that haven't been in 20 years and they're going to be there, 3-4 days max, maybe 5 if they're lucky. And then a bunch of, like you said, a bunch of neckbeards are just being like clogging up something. Come on.
Don't be rude. Don't gotta be. I mean, you're not wrong, but you don't gotta say it like that. I mean, good Lord.
That's what they are.
I mean, like,
they all look the same.
No, they do not.
It's the same content.
Go look at Prince Charming Dev right now on Instagram. They do not look all the same. Not to mention the women bloggers. Now, all the white women bloggers, some of them definitely looks the same.
Yeah, don't confuse blogging with influencing Instagrammers either. So now you have that to compete with too. You have the line of, you know, influencers who just want to get their photo for Instagram. I was legit at Trader Sam's in California once. Saw some influencers, like 3 or 4 of them, come up, order their drinks, take the pretty photos by the fireplace outside and pose, put the drinks down and walked away. Like, didn't even drink out of the, like...
Oh, Lord.
But that would be all right, because if they did that and fucked off early, then it would be a 5-hour wait. But the ones out here are like, oh, I'm gonna film my home experience, even though I've probably already got a video of this before, but let's do another one and just, you know... It's just come on. If that's all you're going to do, then why don't they just have a almost like a press pool and go, look, guys, 3 of you can come in and get footage and then fucking share it amongst yourself, because we can fit 20 people in there and your beards are taking up too much room. Get out.
Good Lord. Y'all are just being so damn disrespectful to these people. I want y'all neckbeards to know that I'm not the one coming for you, all right?
That's me. No. Bring it on.
I'm just cheerleading Chris, you know, just enabling it.
I gotta be honest. I get why so many people are hyped up, because it's been so long since, like, and I definitely think Trader Sam's is a local spot. Trader Sam's is the highlight of my monorail bar crawl. Whenever I take people.
That's not saying much though. Like, it's not. That's not a big brag.
The wave is well. Okay, now hold on. Sam's is great. What do you mean? Explain, Chris. Explain. Let me get in my
good,
my
just like everything else of Walt Disney World, it's overrated. It's good, but I ain't paying $20 for those drinks. I don't. Come on now. It's all hype. That's Disney World. It's all hype.
You don't have to pay $20. See, that's the problem. You're thinking like a tourist. You forget how it is to live down here. You just ask for the drink itself. I don't want the mug. I've always just gotten the drink. If you want the mug, that's why you pay the amount of money that you pay, because it comes with the souvenir mug.
It's cheaper to sit in my car in the parking lot and drink my homemade jungle juice that I made on the plane ride on the way down. That's cheaper. And
what are you, better. An alcoholic coach for the Bad News Bears? What are you doing? That's the first question. That's the first question. I also would like to say, if you are an Orlando local, there's a better. Well, I wouldn't say better, because I think the best thing about Trader Sam's is how each one of your drinks is interactive, and I also think it has to do with the bartenders at Trader Sam's. Like with any, and this is why another thing I think Chris don't know what he's talking about. Most of your bar experiences depend on a bartender. So if you have a great bartender who is very, charismatic, who is very fun, who is very engaging, you are going to have a good time. Unless you're Chris, who just wants to sit in a dank corner and drink some homemade toilet gin. Like, if that's what you want to do, you can go do that whiskey. That's what you can do. That's your nickname now, Waitsfield. Your whiskey. That's all. That's just... I feel like Sam's is great. I feel like, but go to Aku Aku downtown. That's a better one. They have a drink called the Tiger Fucker. It's amazing. Go ahead.
I'm just going to wade in and I'm going to go right down the middle, right? Because I have been like binging Bar Rescue lately. So I'm totally Team Jalen on the bartender makes the experience. But for me, and this is just an excuse to have a dig at Disney. Like, why the fuck is there only like one place like that? Why isn't there 10 places like that? Like, why does there have to be a place where there's a 5-hour wait? Why can't there be? You've got 4 theme parks, a gazillion hotels. Even put one in at a freaking water park. Give someone an excuse to go to the water park.
Yeah.
Like, why is there one of them? Well, just more of that.
Well,
please.
they did try,
or at
they
least
tried.
put a fucking bar on the Skyliner where I can literally stick my arm out the window and pick up my drink after I've mobiled on it. I would just do the loops. I would do loops if I could do that.
See, you're thinking like a California Imagineer. You know damn well that wind's not going to be good for that. You know that wind's going to blow that martini out your hand. But they did try that with. They tried that with the Abracadabra. You know, the Abracadabra was supposed to be like Trader Sam's, where each drink was supposed to have something cool that happened with it, but it kind of just ended up like those $1, you know, magic trick kits that you can get from the Dollar Tree. Like, it wasn't really that like poppin'. You have jelly rolls. Jelly rolls, I think, is another experience for having a karaoke-esque bar. You also had Yeehaw Bob. Like, Yeehaw Bob over in Port Orleans was a huge bar to the point where they would have to just start giving people time minimums because you couldn't get kicked out. I mean, because they were just you couldn't not get kicked out. You were just having so many people who were there just hanging out because Bob was so entertaining. It just kind of depends on where you are. I know Olga's as well. So in the past, we have had 4 active themed bars at the same time around property, most of which you don't even have to pay a ticket fee to go into. I just think Sam's is the only one that has been truly successful, besides the Adventurer Club, which they closed.
Yeah, I mean, clearly a 5-hour wait shows you're doing something right. But still, I just like
the Edison.
The original.
Sorry, the Edison too. The Edison they tried with the Edison as well.
I have not been. Did that one close? That one get caught by COVID?
It's still open, but it's
okay.
So the thing about the Edison over at like 10 o'clock was supposed to turn into like a nightclub kind of thing. And the Edison really did like succeed by having this flapper girl, they had flappers, they had girls with like, with pixie wings on the back who would sell like absinthe to people. They really tried to sell that, but I think after COVID happened, they had to cut a lot of that. Maybe that will come back. I don't know. It just kind of depends on where it is, where we are in the world at that point.
I have a
Sounds
question.
like we need a group of bloggers to do an update for us.
Yeah. I have a question, which kind of leads on to something else we was probably going to talk about. If you're on a VIP tour, could you have just rocked up today and got a drink at Sam's and then disappeared immediately? Or like what does the VIP, what kind of doors does it open? Because clearly it doesn't open the door for the underperforming Blue Ribbon ride. That's more like a wet blanket.
Nothing. I don't think
VIP
you can,
tour nowadays. And it's how much an hour? $600 an hour for what? To get walked onto rides?
Minimum, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Ice-T did it. Ice-T did it. If Ice-T can do it, man, that's New Jack City. That's SVU.
He's got SVU is in syndication though. He's got syndication.
He's got that. Yeah, he's got that. I don't think anybody who is broke. I don't think we are broke or just regular everyday people like me and you are going to get this VIP tour. It's rich people who are doing it, which is another affirmation that basically says that if you have enough money, Walt Disney World is the best place for you to do whatever the hell you want, because that's all that fuels them, is having money.
But you can't do whatever you want. You can't get a Rise of the Resistance. You can't do it. This is the thing. You can't do what you want.
Hold on. They brought that back. They added it back.
They changed it now. Okay.
But I remember when I first read that, I'm like, what kind of Mickey Mouse organization has a VIP tour where you can't get on the best ride in the park, but you can get on everything else? Like that was just so dumb to me. I thought that was dumb, and I'm glad that people backlash, because if I'm paying $600 an hour, and I bet every rich stuffy, and I'm pretty sure the rich stuffy people have the most power at Disney because of their money. So I bet somebody was like, hey, we can't I brought my family down here. I'm very rich and influential, if you haven't noticed. by the tiger skin that I'm wearing on my back. I would like to go on Rise of Resistance because I'm giving you $600 an hour to take my family around this park to get on everything and do everything the best way that it can. So chop chop, make it work. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Like us regular people, that's probably going to be like a cast member like, oh, I'm sorry, here's a fast pass or something to Midway Mania. They're not going to really go hard for you. But if you have money, if you have power, if you have influence, oh, by all means, they can scare people into doing whatever they want.
Well, that's nothing new, like this have and have-nots culture, is it, really?
Yeah. That's just how it is. I mean, we've always had plaids to take people around who had the most amount of money. I mean, hell, even most of the cast, like one of the few cast members that we knew to see Walt with was a plaid. It was that one girl who was a Disney ambassador who was being taken around.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
guess
dang
not.
right. Dang right, little Wakefield.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, someone had to go poopy. Hang on.
So, Jay, let me ask you another question while we're talking about the haves and have-nots and getting on Rise and stuff like that. The whole storm in the teacup with Disneyland Paris and the paper ride thing. Did we talk about that last show, or did that happen?
No, I don't
after?
think we got to see. That wasn't a lull week. I don't think that was a week that we got to it. You know,
But that was some crazy like reactions to that, man.
I guess for me, it kind of just depends on the ride. Like with anything, like imagine being on a flight and they say like all of the stuff that you get complimentary on a flight, and they were just like, no, we charge for it now. I'm not going to pay $2 for a pack of peanuts, but I might pay $2 for some of those Biscoff crackers. You know, it kind of just depends.
I mean that's the thing. Like if it's a case of like, you know, it's a whole bunch of shit that you don't really need, like, you know, the toothbrush and the this and that and the other. But then it's like, okay, right, oh, you could have this really nice, I don't know, beer that's not free or something like that. You'd go for £5 or whatever. Yeah, I'll go for it. Like, it all depends. And I guess the trade-off, really, when you think about it, is the current system with the fast passes is, you know, you pay shitloads per night to stay on resort, and then you get your 60 days advance to put your fast passes in, and then you might or might not get what you want. You know, you certainly probably can't get Seven Dwarfs or Flight of Passage 20 days out. And then someone comes along and goes, look, what is it you really want to go on? And you turn around and say, oh, I just want to go on Seven Dwarfs and I just want to go on Flight of Passage. Everything else, I'm happy to wait. I'll wait in the line. And they goes, well, you know, for 20 quid, you can do that. I'd be like, yeah, damn right, I'll do that, because,
right,
you know, it's been proven by people like Len Testa, who.
Okay, hang on. Sorry, Chi, what do you want to talk about, real quick? Those aren't words.
No, all words are made up. Don't listen to your father.
ABCs. Okay, can you say goodnight? No. No. Can you say bye-bye?
No.
Can you say bye, Tommy? No. Okay.
Bye.
All right.
That was a very good goodbye there.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah,
no,
you were going, Tommy?
No, I was just going to say it's been proven by people like Len Testa, you know, that actually standby is quicker, you know, rather than this whole fast pass line. To me, if I knew that I'd have to pay a bit, or even, I'm not talking a huge amount, but a moderate amount to get on the one thing that I know if I didn't do that, it's going to be an hour or more. But everything else, every single ride in that park is 25% quicker queues because it's just flowing better. I probably would do that, to be honest with you. And I'm not someone that's like, you know, it depends what it is. And I'm not someone that's going to stay on resort. And I don't do the mental gymnastics of, oh, I'll stay on resort and that, you know, these minor benefits really work out really good value for money. Like, if I can save money, I will. But there's only two sort of sets of currency that you've got in a park, and that's whether you pay for something to get on the ride quicker, like an express pass, or you pay for it in your time. You know, if you're there for 4 days and you haven't got 2 hours to queue up for Slinky Dog Dash and swirling saucers, and you can pay $15 to do it, then why not? Like, why not do that? That's 2 hours you could be doing something else. So, just my 2 cents worth, anyway.
No, I agree. I agree. If it's well, when I went to Disneyland and they still have the paper fast passes, I tried out Max Pass. So my first time doing it, my first time at Disneyland, I got lucky where I was able to get 6 fast passes and 3 for each park for free because I got stuck on Soarin'. Like we were stuck up in the air for like 30 minutes. And it was just our group who was stuck in the air. And they had to hand crank us down, by the way. But it was a great experience because I got to see the back of it, but also I got those fast passes. After getting those, it kind of gave me like, the first hit is free. And then once you give them that first hit, they're going to want to come back. Basically crack rules. And that was the same thing. I came back the next year and I used Max Pass because you can get so much. It was just so easy for me to pay this money to basically get Fast Pass Plus, but in a better way of doing it. And just have so much ability. So I don't mind.
And you paid for Max Pass?
I paid for Max Pass. I think it was like $10 back in the day. Back when I did it, I got
right?
3.
Was it for the ride or for the day?
It was for the day. So I only get 3. For $10 you can get 3 fast passes.
That's right.
So I was able to do them on the big things such as Guardians. I believe I used it on Space Mountain, and I think I used it on Matterhorn, which is a waste because I think it's a fucking lawsuit machine. But I rock with it. If I can pay $15 to $20, maybe $30, if everything has to be working, maybe $30, I would do Rise of Resistance. I would spend the money for that. So I don't have to get the hassle of trying to get a boarding group for free. It's like, make boarding groups for people who want to do it for free. But if you really want to experience this attraction, here's an option. Here's a way out. Here's a way to guarantee that you will be put in in a line that's a lot quicker than an express line.
Well, there seems to be a couple of things that are floating around at the moment. One idea that got floated was kind of a more premium version of Universal's Express Pass where, you pay, I don't know, an extra $100 for the day, and then that gets you in the Fast Plus line for everything for that park. Or there's obviously this kind of what they're calling paper ride where you can be a bit more selective and probably, by virtue save a bit more money. And then the one that kind of worries me probably the most is the whole Disney Genie idea, and whether a lot of the things will go virtual queue, and then the people that are either paying extra for this like sort of premium service, or the people that are on deluxe resorts are getting 2 or 3 virtual queue picks, and then everyone else, us peasants, are only getting 1 or something like that. That's the one that that's the one that kind of worries me the most, that they could go down that route where it ends up being a completely fucking miserable experience for everybody else, and then those people that have decided, it's worth paying $400 a night to stay at whatever hotel, that they're the ones that are kind of, I wouldn't say being scammed, but certainly kind of induced to stay at them resorts to get those benefits.
Right. Yeah, they're definitely, that'll help with them juicing those numbers. All right, last story I want to get to is some breaking news.
Hold on, one question. One question about that. Just real quick on that.
Go
and
for
how
it.
You guys said, and because we're always looking, because you guys don't live down here, so we were looking at that from a different perspective as somebody who comes and visits. How many do APs get a day? Like, I feel like APs, especially if you have, like, for instance, if you have the highest AP, the premier AP over Universal, after about like 3-4 o'clock, you get express on any and everything. So I was wondering, do you think that Disney would be like, hey, we're going to give you guys 3 of these a day that you can use.
I think Disney is going to give you as little as possible for as much money as possible, and trying to game it out to me right now it's just mental masturbation because we just don't know. And that's what makes it so tough because Disney can go, well, they're going to go one way and they're going to give you as little as possible.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
And I just don't want to get anyone's hopes up. I don't want anyone to like, oh my gosh, it'll be this and this, and if I stay on site and I'm going to book my trip now, and it becomes a disappointment.
Because we don't know. Like, it's always best to shoot low, and if it gets high, then your expectations were low, and that's great. I just know I don't think they will do it because even with Fast Pass Plus for us APs, they didn't give us any perks with that or give us like even an extra 1 or 2 for that, and probably because they just say, oh well, you can come all the time, so why do you need the chance for that? Even though
and that says a lot about the Disney brand over the last 10, 15, 20 years. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you knew Disney would go above and beyond. And now you just said it. Now we have to aim low. We just have to set our expectations super low because that's the Disney brand in 2021.
Because honestly, it's weird. I'm even thinking about upgrading my Universal Pass up the tier because I have the second highest one. I want to up it because I was hanging out with some people who get those perks. And it's 100% worth it. So I don't know why Disney just doesn't go for that. Well, I do know why, because they're cheap bastards who just coast on the name.
That's an actual benefit, though, rather than a perceived benefit, isn't it? Like you're an AP eyeing up paying more because actually you can see the results on paying more, not like some theoretical, like, oh, well, it seems better. Like it sounds to me as if like it just is better and you can prove it's better. So you're going to pay that money.
Yeah. Mark my days, though. I think if Universal keeps seeing this and people are loving their brand, they might end up like Disney in the future and get complacent. I can see that happening. It can go both ways. Yeah, I can definitely see that. But go ahead, Wakes, cue up the next one.
All right, our last one, breaking news. We just got this from the Disney Parks blog. The Hall of Presidents will reopen next month. President Joe Biden will be in there, and it's weird because then I guess – do they pull him out and then put Trump back when Trump is president again in August? Or I don't know how that's going to be really tricky to work all that out. But we have a photo now of a very stiff-looking Joe Biden standing at a table in the Hall of Presidents.
Jesus Christ. He looks like George W. Bush in every cartoon version of him I've ever seen.
Disney's, they've had a hard time with their presidents recently.
Oh, dear God. It's better than Trump, surprisingly.
You know what it looks like? It looks like he's been wearing the mask for so long, which good on for him. He's been wearing the mask for so long that Imagineering forgot what his fucking chin looked like because he's got no chin. Where's his chin gone? Like it's just not there. It's like a chinek.
It's a chinek. Oh my God, that is that's a new British word. I just picked up.
You know what I'd love to see. You know what I'd love to see.
A Pokemon.
I'd love to see them put the shitty brown rag that they put over Doconder or whatever his name is. If they put that put that over Trump and then just kind of leave him to the side with the tarp over, you know, just put him in B mode.
One of my favorites, I think I rode or I experienced Hall of Presidents more during the Trump presidency than ever before because I would love watching the Trump fanatics go in there. And every time he would speak, they go, yeah. Like, they get so pumped and excited. Like they were meeting a celebrity. It's like, dude, this is Hall of Presidents. Chill out. But this was their chance to get close.
That's their rise of resistance. Like that's their,
yes, it was. It was. They were. I seriously almost saw a dude like he almost broke out in tears. Like you need to calm down.
Well, like it was the same thing with Obama and black people going to Disney. Like I remember my family, we went to that, and I also remember just like white people patting themselves on the patting themselves on the but patting themselves on the back because a black man was president. Like, yeah, racism's dead. We did it. Like, and so it's just the same. It's the same sort of thing of just kind of like, I think Liberty Square sucks just beyond the politics thing, with it just being the most boring land, especially comparing it to New Orleans Square.
But it's got the concrete where the sewer's supposed to be in the middle, and
because it's shit. It's because it's shit.
Can I just say, like, and this is I know, obviously.
I don't think you get a dog in this fight, dude. Do you? Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was about to
this.
say. Like, we're only a few weeks from Independence Day, but objectively, let's forget I'm British. Let's go with European, because I feel more European than I do British right now. Anyway, but objectively, to me, it's just like the most boring shite. And I'm really interested in American history and the presidents and stuff like that. But I just don't want to go and see that when I'm at a theme park, to be honest with you. It just feels like it's a museum.
This was right from Walt Disney's mind. This is something that he had in mind. It was originally a walk-through gallery. So, Tommy, why do you hate Walt Disney?
Well, it's okay, Tommy.
Where do I begin? Should we start with Epcot?
Well, not with everything. Not with everything. I want to preface
this. And how, I was wondering actually the other day, like, so if Walt got his way with the Epcot Center and built like this city of tomorrow, would he have turfed out all the people that they laid off during the pandemic? Because
yes.
According to his rules, question. If you don't work, then you don't get to live in the city of tomorrow. So would he have kicked them all out? Would he have made them homeless?
That Walt Disney would be the first person in line to go to space right now with Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson. He would love that.
Yeah.
I mean, with Hall of Presidents, even though I get like here's the thing about Walt and kind of trying to speed up today. Today, we know a lot more about American history than we knew in the past because we have just more historical data and footage, and we just don't have to take, these textbooks made by people who have this propaganda posted.
You mean you have critical race theory? That's what you have.
I mean, I just have the history,
also known as telling the truth.
Yeah, that white people fucked up. Like it's. And Walt didn't have that. Walt dropped out in 8th grade. Like, to him, Abraham Lincoln's his hero because he didn't know any better. And nobody in America knew any better. Like, the government was just like, yo, America's great. And they're like, yeah, America's great because I'm American and you tell me it's great. And all the black people and all the minorities and all the women and everybody else just like, you come on, dog. It's terrible. And so that's kind of what I feel like with, it's just steeped in politics because it's supposed to take place July 4th, 1776. Like, it's always going to be steeped in politics. Well, all these white dudes basically said that all men were free while also having a bunch of chained up people, one of which raped several of his slaves. Like, it's such a hypocritical time in history. I can forgive Main Street a little bit more because there were black cities that actually did look like Main Street before they were burned down. So I can kind of, I can gloss that over, but with just liberty. And also, I could forgive it all. I could forgive it all if it wasn't so goddamn boring. Oh my God.
Well, just think, they tried to take this idea and build it into an entire theme park called Disney's America.
I was about to say, like, that would have been flaming garbage, honestly.
Disney's America.
And it would have been shut half the year as well. There was something the other day where someone was flexing for it, and I'm just like, why? It's just, why would you think that's a good idea? To have a theme park that's only open half the year, a Disney park, like, come on.
I'm surprised.
Right. Like, there's no word yet on where Trump will be in the new Hall of Presidents, where he'll be seated. That'll be interesting to see where the Imagineers place him and who they place him next to.
Hopefully they place him behind the freaking prison cell in Pirates of the Caribbean. That's where I want to put him.
The Coca-Cola experience for the
Diet
Coke.
Didn't they put Obama in the back row when Trump came in? Is he in the back row?
Honestly, I feel like that's shady, but at the same time, I just think like Obama was so ready to just peace out with America that I think he was fine with that.
I think they stood him up in the back row. I think I have
the Rosa Parks section. They put him in the colored section, Chris. They put him in the colored section. Okay.
I think he's next to Miller Fillmore, who is not black. So
serious question though. Would they just do that? Like, let's forget like Dem Republican. Would they just do that to basically give the current president a little time to shine?
I would think so. I'd imagine there are quite a few meetings on where to place the new where to place the old president when they bring in a new one, because
are they all interchangeable? Is it like musical chairs, or is there one?
I can see the Fox News headline right now in my head of where they put Trump and the outrage machine, and it's a 2-week news cycle.
I'm just surprised they haven't closed it yet. I think as volatile as things are getting, I think that, especially with a lot of Imagineers after the whole Song of the South thing have left because they thought the inclusion. Oh, can you hear me?
Jay, there's some people that 100% believe that the Splash Mountain redo is not going to happen. So can you imagine the outrage that if they did say it was closing eventually, the people would be living in denial for
years from an operations standpoint, Hall of Presidents will never close because that's one of the only indoor things in that entire side of the park. So when it rains, that thing eats a lot of people.
Really?
Yeah.
God, yeah. I mean, what else are you going to do on that side of the park that's not outside besides Mansion?
Haunted Mansion.
Which is partially outside the queue, so.
Damn it, just do the Muppets. Just throw them all out and just do the Muppets. Just evict the presidents and just do the Muppets inside, damn it.
That would get me to go on it. There's very few things. Like last trip I went, because we went in September and it was fairly light crowds. We did all the things before that pretty much I'd not done, like Jungle Cruise, Small World, like the things that I have no desire to ever go back on, but I did them anyway. Do you remember, Chris? I don't know if you remember. I think I texted you straight after I came off Small World, and I was just like, "Yeah, never again. Like never ever again." But like Hall of Presidents and the what's the other one? Carousel of Progress. I think the only two that I've not done, and I just got no interest in doing it. It's just like, I'm not flying 4,000 miles to sit in a musty theater watching a 50-year-old animatronic. No thanks.
Hey, that's fair. I get it. I mean, I like the Carousel of Progress more than I do Hall of Presidents because at least it sticks strictly to like technology more so than anything else. And it doesn't really have so much politics steeped into it. I can forgive that one a little bit more. Plus, I do technically like the history of that thing. I just feel like Hall of Presidents is just boring. I mean, that's the one line that Iago uttered in New Management that I'm just like, okay, they know nobody likes the Hall of Presidents. They know. Then do something about it, you cowards. Come on. Do something. And now the American Pavilion too. All
right, we are up against it. Anything else for this week's show?
No. Shoot. Is there anything else? I thought there was another big piece of theme park news that happened. Maybe I'm blanking.
Not that I can think of. Nothing that jumps out.
We'll see, because I'm waiting on, and this probably would be a bit boring to you guys anyway, but...
Food and Wine.
Food and Wine?
Yeah, we said a big theme park story. That's something that happens every single year. A big theme park story.
Not big for you, me.
I'm waiting on the Brightline decision because that could have like lasting ramifications. But
would you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I enlighten some people who don't even know.
All right, so basically, Brightline are building a high-speed rail from Miami up to MCO.
Maybe.
Well, no, it is built. It's there. It's there. It's just not at the moment. It's not going any further than MCO. But there's the talk of an MCO to Tampa line, and I think it's probably a memorandum of understanding between Brightline and Disney. And what they've got is two different routes that they could take. One that follows the 417, State Road 417, and one that follows State Road 528. And it's kind of a rehash. It's like high-speed rail redux from what was happening in the early noughties. But essentially, Disney pretty much have started heavy-duty lobbying for the route to go just to Disney Springs, skipping out loads of stuff, and Universal, Orange County Convention Center, a bunch of other businesses on International Drive that would massively benefit from this route going their way have been lobbying to get the route to go past them. Now, let's not take the Disney Universal fanboys side. From a theme park point of view, it would obviously benefit everyone if the train stopped at Universal, stopped at SeaWorld, stopped at Disney, and then went on its merry way down to Tampa. But it seems that at the moment Disney are lobbying hard to try and get an exclusive access to it, and
I
a lot of people hang their hat on the Magical Express. But I was doing a bit of research earlier. Apparently, only maximum about 2.5 million people out of 20 million plus people even use the Magical
Damn, ten
Express every year.
percent, just barely 10%.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, Chris? Or
I guess for me as a local, a part of me is just like I see Disney's position, but me as a local, I think Chris can also, because Chris lived down for here for a little bit, going from Tampa to all these stops in Orlando. I have been, and I think you've even seen some of my posts of you. I hate I-4 with a passion, and it just gets worse every year. They keep adding more lanes that in a year's time gets completely filled up because we have more and more people moving here, and we need an alternative transportation. Like we really do need a high speed rail, a
Yeah.
light rail, something. We
yeah,
need that. So I don't care. So a part of me is just like, ideally, I do want it to go everywhere, but I'm just happy to get it if that means that there's some traffic off of I-4. Because if you think about it, a lot of tourists are international. A lot of tourists don't know how to drive in American streets. A lot of people don't like some people. We don't all have the same driving rules everywhere. Hell, not even in Florida we have the same driving rules.
yeah.
Driving in Tampa and Miami are two different types of things. You get
The
cussed out in two
infrastructure
different languages.
the infrastructure is not kept up with the growth in Central Florida. And as someone, I'm a big proponent of
No.
mass transit. I'm in the middle
Yeah.
right now of trying to uncar myself and remove my car from my lifestyle. And full disclosure, I was looking at sneaking down to Orlando next weekend with my daughter just for a 2 or 3 day trip. And the breaking point and what I was willing to spend came when it came time to look at rental car prices
Yeah.
and having to park the car. So having a train that goes out there would help defer a lot of that cost for a lot of people. So I'm all for it. I love mass transit. I use it every chance I get. And yeah, driving I-4, like Jalen said, that's 45 minutes ish from Tampa to Orlando. It's the
Yeah.
worst. It's just I could
It's
drive it in
2
my sleep
hours.
now. It's yeah. If you leave
It's
the wrong time of the day, it's over. You're good luck.
Unfortunately, the basically what happened this week is the of all people, this Orlando Sentinel put out this editorial board
yeah.
piece, and it basically said if the authority pick to go via Universal, then Brightline have got paid for it. Universal are refusing to pay any money towards it, which is complete fabrication. I've not seen anything that actually says that factually that's true. But they basically said, Universal are going to use all their power to make sure that we get no train line at all if it doesn't just go to Disney. And it's just insane. It's insane to even when you look at the figures. You'll see a thread that I put up earlier about it. But basically, just by stopping at all those places, even though it's possibly double the build cost or just under double the build cost, they would probably make their money back from building it just by having all them stops along the way. And that's
Right.
even before Epic Universe opens. So if you imagine that they don't get it done until maybe 26, 27, by which time Epic's open and it's developed its own, crowd, and maybe SeaWorld has expanded a little bit, and maybe there's some more hotels, etc., etc. There's so many massive chains, even the convention center itself, which is
Yeah.
continually growing. More than a third of people who go there travel to the conventions by air. So that's like 500,000 people just going to the convention center. And the other thing I'd say is a lot of the land along that 5 to 8 route is actually owned by Universal and the convention center themselves. So even if they didn't donate hard cash,
They
donating
could donate
land and
land.
rights
Yeah.
away 100% would bring the cost down. So it's just, to me, it just smacks of Disney flexing and just putting out the notes to the editorial and whoever else, and sending out the lobbyists and just just bullshitting their way to influence the thing, influence the vote. So, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
exactly.
It'd be nice
Yeah.
to see. Either way, it'd be nice something to happen.
Yeah, we've got to leave it there. We got to wrap it up because my
Mhm.
kid will not go to sleep if she hears me talking in the office. So, for the sake of my night and being able to get to bed on time myself, we're going to wrap it up. Jalen, where can we find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter at TCJalen. That's 2 A's. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Tomorrow's Child. And yeah.
Tommy, where can we find you?
At Tommy Hawkins, that's TommyHawkins.
All is in John Cena. And you can find me at Wakefield Report. You can find us also at the Mice Chat Mice Pod. Don't forget, we are hosted. Mice Chat pays the bills for us. So thank you very much to them for that. We are hoping we're still flying under the radar and they don't realize we're still in the air because they'll pull the plug on us. But any questions, you can get at us on Twitter at eTicketReport. That's all we have for this week's show. We will see you all next time.